Welcome to GabTalks, where we provide tools, tips, and techniques to help your life and business be easier, better, and faster. Hello, hello. How are you? I am Gabriella, and this is GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. Oh my gosh, you guys, today I am bringing to you an awesome and amazing expert who himself has had pivots and shifts and changes in his own career. And you guys are going to love what Daniel has to say and share with us today. How's it going, Daniel?
It's great, Gabriella. How are you?
It's great. I am so excited. You and I met years ago in person, and we had some mutual associates, and we just kind of like were in spaces that were next to each other, cross paths off and on throughout the years. And then when everything shut down, we wound up being in different spaces, but we still had many mutual associates. And so when I was reaching out to people and asking people if they would be interested in being interviewed, of course, I remembered all of your phenomenal expertise. But it was really interesting when we were talking before the interview, you've made a major shift and a pivot. I would love for you to share with our audience all about your expertise.
Yeah, through the past couple of years, I've realized that my expertise is helping those people who have lived by the shoulds of others or the idea of what they're supposed to do, really reclaim their life and come back to life rather than essentially, let's say, living a dead life versus really living before they die.
That super resonates with me. And I think a lot of people wind up unintentionally living that way.
It's one of those weird things because you start, and I know for me, I look back on the me almost 10 years ago at this point, who was living for everybody else, working in sales, doing the thing I was supposed to do. I was miserable. I knew it, but I didn't know it. I was like, oh, it's just, life sucks and this is the way it's supposed to be kind of thing.
Right.
Like, oh, this is just normal. Everybody's miserable. But, the people around me were miserable because I was.
Ah,
And there was this moment of
clarity.
awakening, enlightenment, clarity, no more BS kind of thing that I got to start living for me and take care of this.
So we already kind of got into our next question. So let's just go into your background and your experience that kind of led you, well, more than kind of, that led you to where you are today in your expertise.
It's funny, my background, where I am now, looking back on it all, I've realized I've always been very gifted with problem solving. And all these seemingly disparate things that I've done, from being a graphic designer to being in sales to being in broadcasting, all make sense now because I'm really gifted with problem solving, as I said. And graphic design is nothing more than visual problem solving. How do you make it fit? And then I've always been in the line of empowering others. When I worked in corporate, it was about making sure everybody on the team got credit, not me, because I was not just me, because I was leading the team. And through it all, there was this point. The way I joke about it now is that for the last 15 years of my career, I was working for 3 different family-owned companies and had the wrong last name at every one of them. And because I had the wrong last name, my contributions weren't appreciated as much as those coming from others. And there was also this strong mindset of, well, this is the way we've always done it, so we're just going to do more of it this way. Like, that ain't going to get you where you want to go. But they doubled down, and eventually the frustration of it all, the lack of, I felt like I could bring so much, and then it was just kind of pushed and disavowed. There was a day I just snapped. I'm gone, and literally packed my office and walked out the door.
Oh my gosh. How many people do we know that wish they could do that themselves and they don't feel like they have the place or the space to do that with?
It may not have been the most intellectually intelligent decision in the moment. Like, well, I have a mortgage. Hey, how are you going to pay? The funny thing is that it happened on a Friday. And that weekend, I didn't care about anything. It was free. I felt light. There was no more stress. And while I did wind up going back to that position, I now had an end game to get out of it. So the immediate needs were met, like what's the movie, American Underdog, the Kurt Warner movie that was out the end of last year. There's a scene in it where he's talking to his then girlfriend, future wife, about sometimes you got to do what you have to do what you want to do.
Right.
And I knew in that point, this is my needs are going to be met so that I can pay the mortgage and eat. But there's an end game now in place that's a much bigger picture because I reconnected back to myself.
Nice. We were talking about inspiration and influence, and clearly you had some big inspiration moments that led you down here, but you were also sharing with me a book that you found very inspirational and influential. Will you share that with us?
Yeah, the book is Black Hole Focus by Isaiah Hankel, who I've gotten to know him over the years. It just happened. This book came out about the time I was going through that existential crisis. I was post going through that job, post divorce, and trying to figure out what life was all about. I had started writing fiction under another name.
Hmm.
I had created a full social media profile for that other person, and through it all, his meme gets shared. It's the most shared. It is now the most shared meme on Facebook ever. And discovered he wrote a book. I'm like, this sounds kind of interesting. Read the book, and it was the platform for me moving into living my life and creating a business out of it.
Incredible. Will you share that book with us one more time so that we can
Sure.
make sure? So
Black
you
Hole
guys,
Focus
yeah.
by Isaiah Hankel.
So you guys take a screenshot of that and go get yourself a copy as well. I will see if we can grab a link to that on Amazon so you can get yourselves a copy. Because if Daniel was so heavily influenced by that, I'm sure that you guys will be as well. Hello, hello, awesome listener. Thank you so much for joining us today at GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. We're going to take a short break and say thank you to our sponsors. It is through the generous support of these sponsors that we are able to bring to you these amazing experts that are sharing their best tips for your success. So please listen to what our sponsors have to say, and hopefully they're going to inspire you that you're going to click their links and go support them.
Introducing Boost by GoV, a high-end, first-in-class fuel catalyst tablet that is taking the world by storm. How would you like to save money on gas and go further on every single tank? The new MPG is here. Get more miles per gallon, boost power and performance, and reduce emissions and exhaust. What would you say if you could pay less and make fewer trips to the gas pump? It's time to wake up and get on the move. What are you waiting for? Get more out of life and join the GoV experience today. Scan the QR code or check the show notes for more information.
You've all heard, and you know how powerful it is to send thank you cards, notes of appreciation, and gifts that build and maintain relationships. However, writing and sending generic impersonal greetings and gifts one by one just is so overwhelming and takes so much time. Not to mention, these days, who wants to deal with lines at the post office, running out of stamps, or having to print stamps yourself? And then there's the embarrassment of missing an important date altogether. Yikes. So what can you do? If you go to marketyourbiz.guru, you will be able to get help with your greetings and gifts that are printed, stamped, stuffed, and mailed automatically for you. Make sure that you tell them Gabriella sent you. So if you could go back and talk to your younger self, and I always ask this question because a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, we are pivoting and changing in our careers. We're basically a brand new younger self when we're doing that, you and I both. What one piece of advice would you give?
Stop taking everything so damn seriously. In my even my teenage years, but definitely in my 20s, I was proud that people told me I looked and acted older than I was. Like, wow, you're not 30? Wow, I could have sworn you were like 31. Like, you're only 22. Oh, but it didn't serve me in the long run, because that's what ran me down that. It was all the shoulds. Like, how should I be showing up? Oh, I'm the imposter of I'm too young, so I have to be this way. It was all a bunch of nonsense and crap. And if I would go back, I would have had a much more joyous life through those years. And I think I would have been more successful too.
Like we talked before we started, I totally get that. I think I was very much the same way. And I think a lot of us, we think that we're supposed to be that way. That's a really incredible piece of advice. And I would love for you to share with us now some of your very best tips that people can take action on right now when they're done listening to what you have to share with us?
First and biggest one is if you feel like you're in that spin. You don't necessarily have a picture of what future success and happiness is, but you do have a sense of life could be better. So somewhere in there, we can't have a sense of life could be better without some internal representation of what better is. Although it's like falling down in the mud, we get mud in our eyes and we can't see the sun anymore, but we kind of remember the sun, but now it's covered over with mud. There has to be something in there if you're having the comparison, the feeling of it. The best thing to do in those moments is just stop. Stop running, stop rushing. Because if we have the mud in our eyes trying to figure out our path, we run around furiously and bump into trees, fall in holes, all kinds of things. If we stop, take stock of where you're at and really do a self-assessment of where am I? What is it about this situation that is not working for me? And then start asking what would be the opposite of this might be the easiest way to open it up, to start wiping the mud away from our experience, wiping the mud off of self, because that's also the mud of the shoulds from others and the ideas of how we're supposed to be. We can't do that when we stay in the furious spin. Just stop. Give yourself space and time.
It kind of sounds like you're telling people to get out of the washing machine of life. Stop being agitated.
Be a tree. Like, the winds can move you. You can either be a piece of paper that gets blown to the next state, or you can be the tree, let the storm blow off the leaves and the branches you don't need anymore, and you will still be a tree at the end of that storm, and then figure out your groundedness and rootedness and move on.
Are there any other pieces of advice or tips that you would like to share today?
Relax. I think that goes along with the first one. Just there's no rush. We get told there's a rush. We get told there's this cultural imposition that every time a birthday ends with 0, there's some milestone meaning to it. And yeah, another decade has passed. Big effing deal. It's a lie. One of my heroes, Satchel Paige, said, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you was?" Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the number of times you've been around the sun. Worry about how you feel. Worry about what you're doing with it, because you're not too young. You're not too old. You are where you are. So just go do it.
You know, I absolutely love that advice, because I do not feel as though I am my biological age. And most people that know me say that I bring an energy that is at least 10 to 15 years younger than what my biological age is. And I like being that personality. And if someone has a problem with me being almost 50 and acting like I'm in my 30s, that's their problem.
Exactly. I'm sitting here at 56 at this moment, feeling like I'm in my late 20s or early 30s, and somebody has an issue with it. It ain't my problem.
Yeah, exactly. On each episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts, we like to highlight a hero sponsor who is a business that chooses to highlight a do-good organization in their own community that is bettering the world. Today's hero sponsor is...
Hello world, this is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer and I am also a consultant from Z World Webs. Today I want to highlight the Unity Foundation. The Unity Foundation is a nonprofit organization with a 46-year history of promoting peace, cooperation, and of course, unity throughout the world. For the past 22 years, the Unity Foundation's main focus has been using their media platforms to help humanitarians working for peace, make this world a better place, and promote the United Nations since 1984. To learn more about the Unity Foundation, please visit their website at www.unityfoundation.world. The link can be found in the show notes. So with that being said, my name is Z from Z World Webs, and let's develop a website Z World is waiting for.
So I know you have a website, and there are fantastic ways for people to contact you. And a lot of us struggle with having those shoulds and coulds and would-haves and could-haves, and need to get rid of all that stuff and, get it off of our person and be more true and authentic to ourselves. So how can they reach out to you?
They can contact me at transcendentliving.com. Link is right down there below.
Yes.
And I won't say they should contact me, because then I would be shooting on them and piling on. They may contact me. They can contact me at transcendentliving.com.
Awesome. So you guys, the link for that is down below. And on social media, where can we find you?
You can find me on the Book of Faces, you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me on LinkedIn, and even Instagram, focusing on LinkedIn these days.
Awesome. I love LinkedIn. I do a ton there myself. So that is a great place for people to reach out to you, and they can look you up, Daniel Olexa, over there. And again, we will post the link for your social media down below, and we will post your website. And then you have an awesome, awesome offer for our audience today.
Yeah, if you are feeling in that space of, I don't know what to do with life, I have a free ebook on my website that is called The 3 Keys to Transcendent Living, to get you into the mindset, the awareness of how to make that pivot and start shifting into the life that you can intentionally create for yourself.
Fantastic. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today and allowing me to interview you. I think our audience is going to get tons and tons of value out of this, and they should definitely, oh, no, I encourage them to reach out to you and learn how they can work with you. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to click the links. Make sure you subscribe and set your reminders so that you find out when our next episode is airing. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope you got value today. We want to give a huge shout out of gratitude to our contributors. Please make sure you click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell up above to get reminders when we add new content.